Hello and a warm welcome to the Financial Bunny TV. My name is Nicolette Mashile. I'm also known as the Financial Bunny. It is another episode of Ackerman's Rise Up, Remarkable Woman, where we teach you how to become that remarkable entrepreneur that you've always wanted to be. On today's episode, we talk a little bit about scaling your business. Now, we understand that business growth is going to happen inevitably, right? Now, the question is, are you ready for your business to scale into new markets and to actually grow, to be able to increase your revenues, to be able to offer an array of different business services or different business products? It is important to understand the process of scaling and making sure that you are ready to actually scale your business. I'll give you a quick example. So we started off at Financial Fitness Bunnies doing financial education for your more adult demographic, rather, let's put it that way, where we were literally a B2B company that would go to different financial institutions and say, listen, we would like to partner with you so that we're able to extend your existing consumer financial education, right? So we're speaking to the people who are your market. Now, this gave us really great opportunity to be able to build in that financial literacy space. But we started realizing that we were not going directly to the consumer, who we have actually built a very big, strong trust with. So we started moving into the consumer, the direct consumer. And we started with writing a book that was received quite well by the market that we wanted to service. The next move was, okay, so now that we've spoken to the adults and the parents, let's speak to the kids. Let's get the kids to understand money concepts, saving, investing, budgeting. And then we wrote this amazing series of kids' books. Now, the problem was that by the time we actually completed and printed these books, we had a meeting with one of our partners. So we sat with our partner and they absolutely loved the books. However, they asked us for a photo op. Right? So we're like, what harm could a photo op actually do for us? And we stood there smiling with our books, and then they went and posted these books on social media, on LinkedIn, Facebook, and all sorts of different types of social media. I kid you not. Within 24 hours, we had over 200 orders. We were not ready for it at all. While it was our choice to scale and move into a different market, which of course is now the young, to teach them financial literacy, we were just not ready and capacitated to be able to handle the influx of orders that came in. And that is the biggest preparation that you need to have when you are looking to scale your business. Do I have the capacity to move into new territories? Do I have the capacity to be able to increase my level of product availability and accessibility? And of course, also, do I have the capacity to actually deliver on what the client wants? And I'll give you an example. Say, for instance, umama wasekhaya, and you bake. Everybody in the community knows you are the person that they can come to if they are looking for baked goodies for different types of events. So let's say, because you're also working a 9 to 5, you only are able to only bake on a Thursday, a Friday, and a Saturday. Which means that you have a very restricted amount of goods that you can bake over a weekend, right? So let's make an assumption that it's 10 buckets every single day. So that's 30 buckets in a weekend. Now, here's this funeral, you've baked scones for them, and everybody at the funeral is talking and raving about your scones. Now, all of a sudden, next week, you have an influx of orders. You take those orders, despite the fact that you have proven and shown yourself that the only capacity you have is to deliver 30 buckets in a weekend. Now, there is a need for 90. So what do you start doing? You start under-delivering. You start skimping on your quality of your product. And in actual fact, you undo and reverse all of the good word-of-mouth marketing that you received from when you delivered a quality product. Now, all of a sudden, you start to see the direct effect of that when people now no longer come and order from you. Capacity is absolutely crucial. It is important to be ready for the process of scaling. So for one, you may purposely and intentionally want to scale your business. On the other, sometimes the business forces you to scale on its own. The question is, are you prepared for that process as it happens? I'll give you another example. More than just the capacity for all of the orders that we receive for the books, the other thing we're not prepared for is simply our distribution. We did not have distribution. I had not had an opportunity to speak to the bookshops. I had not had an opportunity to even set the product up on our e-commerce site. I literally had to do that overnight. And you know what we did? We made mistakes. We made mistakes with our pricing. We made mistakes with our delivery boundaries and our delivery routes. And again, we were just not in the bookshops. So as people were coming and the buzz was going, we wanted to capture the buzz from this new market that we now had. But unfortunately, we were not ready for this new market. We're not ready. So that compromises now on the value that you're going to deliver. Because if I'm putting in an order today for books, I don't want them coming a month later. But unfortunately, that's what we had to now contend with, because we didn't even have a printing partner at that point who was able to print the quantities that had come in as orders. I'll give you another example of capacity. You are somebody that, supplies toilets or lavatories for events. So people are are booking your toilets, and you've got 2 trailers and you are able to pool your toilet to the different events. And then you get a call from somebody in Soweto. Let's say you are stationed in Davidson. You get a call from someone from Soweto and they're like, listen, I actually need toilets. On this weekend, we've got a party and we're going to need 4 toilets. And you're like, actually, the business is a little bit of money. This is a good idea for us to reinvest in the business by scaling the business by buying 4 extra toilets. But you don't buy the trailers that are going to pull these toilets there. So you start to compromise on your delivery of your service. And sometimes first impressions are lasting impressions. You may make mistakes to your old clients because they know you can deliver. But to the new market, you sometimes only have one chance to be able to impress them and deliver a good service or product. So capacity is a very important one. The second one is funding. Sometimes your ambitious scaling needs funding. Because if you are going to go into different markets, and let me use the books, for instance, as an example. If I'm going to go into the different markets, let's say I want to move out of South Africa and I want to sell to Kenya, I want to sell to the UK, I want to sell to the US. Some of the markets have platforms that make it available and easy for us not to have to put an upfront payment. So for instance, if we use the likes of Amazon, Amazon has got a print on demand. So because Amazon's got a print on demand, we simply just need to pay somebody to upload our stuff to Amazon and create an account for us. Kudos. But there are certain markets where you need to print a physical book and actually send it to the new territory. The problem is now, you are now scaling into different markets. And even if, let's look at Africa. Africa has what? 54 countries. If we were to scale into all of the African countries, so minus South Africa, we're dealing with 53. Even if you were sending just 100 books to each market, it means that you would need to send 5,300 books. That requires money. It requires a lot of money because remember, you are moving into those markets. Those orders don't exist. They don't exist yet, but you know they'll come, but you have to make the book accessible in those markets, which means you've got to print from your own pocket to be able to scale into those markets. You're a photographer that takes photos over weekends. Then somebody says to you, actually, don't you think you should scale your business into videography? Now you start to thinking, okay, maybe I can. So in your next package, as you are looking and sourcing out these clients, you send out that we do photography and we do videography. But what does it actually look like from an equipment perspective, from a manpower perspective, for you to be able to deliver those services? Because pricing them is easy. But remember that in most cases, if you don't take a deposit, you may need to go and source the equipment and the manpower to be able to do that and deliver that service. So funding is very crucial. And in most cases, most small businesses, the reason why they struggle to actually scale is simply because of funding. I'll give you another example. If you, for instance, are a printer and you print books, It's important that you have access to a printer at all times. Now, it may be difficult because sometimes when you're using a third-party printer, they're charging you margins based on the work they're going to do and the fact that it's actually their printer. But if you had your own printer, things would look a little bit more different. It's like as a baker, if you have your own stove, things are a lot more easier if you have your own equipment and appliances to be able to deliver. But if you're constantly having to go and hire someone else's appliances, that also means that you're compromising on your margin. And that compromises your profitability. And what do we always talk about? We say that revenue is vanity, but profit is your actual sanity. So it's important to make sure that while you're doing all of that, you understand the role that the funding is going to play for you to be able to actually scale your business. The third one, and I think which is an important one, I mean, there's many of these that you would need to be able to prepare your business to be ready for scaling. But one of the most crucial things is that you need to build a strong team around you and your business. People who understand your vision. Because scaling means that you cannot be in all 5 markets at the same time. Whether your market is even outside, geographically outside of your country, your home country, your primary market, it does not matter. The reality is you need a team of people that understand your vision so that they are able to carry out work even in your absence to the quality and the best of their ability that still speaks to the business brand. Because the business brand is important. The brand equity is important. We believe in Financial Fitness Bunnies. We know exactly what to expect from their books. But if I have built a team that doesn't understand that skims on the quality of the product that we're putting out there, then we've got a problem. If you are photography services and you've got weddings and you've got 4 weddings that are booked on the same weekend, I mean, how are you going to split yourself between 5 places? It means that you need to build a team that you trust to be able to go out there, deliver the service at the best of the quality that you have promised your client, as you would if you were present yourself. So as an entrepreneur, your job is to also be a visionary, but also to be inspirational to your team. And it's important to build the right team with the right skill set. Because having somebody that is just there for the sake of having numbers doesn't work, because you might as well be duplicating all of the work yourself. The last one that I want to speak about, and I think it's quite an important one, is goals. Goals are an indicator of where you want the business to go. Because you can talk about, I want to grow my business, I want to scale my business, but what are you measuring it against? You need to measure it against a goal that you have achieved. And what goals allow you to do is to know what are the building blocks to be able to get to where I want to get. If you say, for instance, we want to book, we want to supply 5 events every single weekend of our catering equipment, you need to know exactly what needs to be done for you to achieve that goal. That goal is we need to make sure that we are advertising enough, we're speaking to people, and we're securing 5 events every single weekend. That is the goal. The goal is I want to be able to do that. Then you got to work backwards and say, what do we need to do? 1, we need capacity. It means that we need 5 different sets of catering equipment so that it is available when those orders or those bookings actually do come in. That is part of scaling. It's understanding that just because we want to be expanding into different markets does not necessarily mean it's something we just say with our mouth. Because what happens when it does happen? Will you be prepared? So business goals are very important because they allow you to ultimately be prepared. It's working backwards from the goal that you've got. The goal we have is we want to be in at least 10 African states. Okay, what do those 10 African states require from us? Some of them may require us to translate our material into their home languages. Some of them may require that we change our payment gates on our e-commerce systems. Some of them require that we may need to find a local printer that we're working with. So it's important to remember all of those things because they will ultimately help you with scaling your business. Now, I'm going to leave it here for today, but I'd like you to please leave in the comment section what have been some of your experiences of scaling your business and where are you finding that there's a blockage for you to be able to expand into different territories and different markets and, of course, increase your revenues, but ultimately making sure that profitability is still there, but not at the cost of value and quality. I will see you guys on the next one.